All right, y'all. GMOG Sports TV back with another video. All right, so Terence Crawford is going on his victory lap tour, doing post-fight interviews. He pretty much got the key to the city back in his hometown in Omaha, Nebraska. So he's doing big things, man. After his victory over Errol Spence, making media runs and interviews and stuff like that. But kudos and shout out to Terence Crawford, right? But I want to address, his interviews that he's talked about what he wants to do next after his victory over Errol Spence. All right. So here's the thing I've noticed with Terence Crawford, right? Uh, he's not used to the spotlight. This guy's getting a lot of attention after his victory over Errol Spence, a lot of attention more than usual, right? He's not used to it. This is something that he's adjusting to. But now he has a lot more attention than ever. And so in that aspect, when he's saying things in an interview, he has to be very careful because a lot of the times the things that you say will be used against you. So therefore, when you say things, you better be careful you don't contradict yourself. Right? So, the same thing when he was coming up in ranks as a fighter to call out certain fighters and things like that, he is now against, right? So in his interviews, let's talk about the interview he did with the Breakfast Club, right? Charlemagne asked him about fighting Boots Ennis. And basically, to surmise what he said about Boots Ennis, he basically said it's a lose-lose situation fighting Boots. He says, if he beats Boots, they're going to say he was too young and he wasn't ready. Right? So yes, I agree with that. Right? Boots Ennis is a high risk fight, low reward. I get it. But at the same time, what other options do you have out there? He's calling out Canelo in that same interview. He said he wants to fight Canelo at a catch weight at 158. Now, here's the thing. Canelo is still the A side. Regardless of he lost to Bivol, whatever, he's still a draw, and he's still the A side. He calls the shots. He's still undisputed at 168. His next fight, September 30th, against Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo is going from 154 to 168 to challenge Canelo Alvarez at 168. Right? It's marketed as undisputed versus undisputed. They're going to be in an entanglement pause for quite some time. Either fighter, Jermell Charlo and Canelo Alvarez, whoever loses is going to have a rematch clause. So they're going to be in an entanglement for a while. So with Terence Crawford, right? To me, I think he's overlooking Errol Spence. More than likely, Errol Spence is going to enact the rematch clause if he hasn't already. Maybe it hasn't been announced yet publicly, but I would imagine that Errol Spence is going to activate the rematch clause and they're going to fight sometime in December, if not early 2024. Right? So that's the thing he should focus on. Rematching Errol Spence. Okay? Now, regardless of what happens with the rematch of Errol Spence, right? I would imagine that Terence Crawford will win again against Errol Spence. I'm gonna imagine that, right? Based on what he did the first fight. So I would imagine that 154 most likely they'll fight at that weight. At 154, more than likely it'll be the same outcome. So after that, who is he gonna fight? Okay? Who is he gonna fight? Right? The only person out there that's available and who is your mandatory if you are indeed going to go to 154. Before doing that, if you're going to fight somebody at 147, it would be Boots Ennis. Right? Because, let's just say for a fact, let's just say that let's just say hypothetically that Terence Crawford wants to fight Canelo Alvarez next, and Canelo Alvarez is available. Canelo is not going to drop down at a catch weight to fight you at 158. He calls the shots. You're going to have to fight him at 168. That is what was negotiated when they offered Jermell Charlo the opportunity. It's at 168. It's not at 154. It's not at 160. It's at 168. So Canelo is going to be fighting at 168, whether you like it or not, Terence Crawford and Terence Crawford fans. So if Terence Crawford wants to fight Canelo, it will be at 168. It will not be at a catch weight. Therefore, if they come together at that weight, I'm going to give the advantage to Canelo because he is at that weight. We've never seen Terence Crawford fight above 154 ever, right? And it's going to take time for that body to get acclimated, to that weight, right? Obviously, we know for a fact that when you move up in weight, it's going to affect your physically, your speed, your timing is going to be affected. Whether it's going to be affected negatively or positively remains to be seen, but it's going to affect you, right? So I'm going to give the advantage to Canelo at 168. Let's say hypothetically that Jermell Charlo wins and beats Canelo in decisive fashion. He knocks Canelo out, which is a long shot, but let's just say he does. Jermell is not moving back down to 154 to fight you, Terence. He's going to stay at 168. So either way, you're going to have to go up and weight to 168 to fight either Jermell or Canelo. Bottom line, there's no catch weights here. They're not going to come down to 158 to fight you. It's going to be 168. Because if they do it, but let's just say if Jermell Charlo does beat decisively Canelo, right? He calls the shots. He's done something that nobody else has done, which basically means he's dominated Canelo to the point where he stopped him. That's never been done before. He's going to make history. He's going to call the shots. And he's going to say, hey, no, I'm going to fight you at 168. This is my weight class. If I come down on 158, the belts are not going to be on the line anyway. So you got to come up to 168 and fight me. So again, Terence Crawford and Terence Crawford fans, y'all got to realize that with Canelo and Jermell, the winner of that fight is going to stay at 168. Nobody's going to come down and wait to fight Terence Crawford. All right. So, who is the best available option right now to fight Terence Crawford? It is Boots Ennis at this point in time. I'm assuming that Errol Spence will rematch Terence Crawford. Now, if I were to advise Errol Spence, I would say, hey, take some time off. Don't take the rematch immediately. Take some time off, man. I would actually say take some time off. Have a tune-up fight, right? And then fight Terence Crawford. That's what I would say. In the mind of a fighter, I know he wants his get back and wants to fight him immediately. I know that. But for me, to advise Errol Spence, I would say take some time off. Then by 2024, I want you to fight a tune-up fight, a stay busy fight, and then I want you to fight Terence Crawford. That's what I would advise him. So in the meantime, in between time, while Errol Spence is doing that, Terence Crawford should fight Boots Ennis. More than likely that won't happen. But he also said that he wants to wait around for Tank Davis to come up in weight to fight him at 147. So he's willing to wait for Tank Davis to come up in weight to fight him at 147, but he won't do that for Boots Ennis. Why? Because Tank Davis is a bigger draw and is a bigger name than Boots Ennis. And in the eyes of Terence Crawford, how he sees it is that Tank Davis is an easier fight than Boots Ennis. Let's just be honest. If he wanted to fight Boots Ennis, he would, because it will be an easier fight. See, fighters know what they're doing, man. They know what fights they want to fight and how they're going to beat these guys. Does Terence Crawford think he can beat Boots Ennis? Absolutely. Does he think it would be an easy fight? Absolutely not. Does Terence Crawford want to beat the shit out of Tank Davis? Absolutely. Does he think beating the shit out of Tank Davis will be easy? Absolutely. So yes, he thinks beating Tank Davis is going to be easy. He thinks beating Boots Ennis is going to be harder. That's why he's willing to wait around for Tank Davis to go up and wait and fight him, right? So, at the end of the day, family, Terence Crawford, he has to fight. He's older. He's 35, going on 36. And yeah, absolutely, he wants to chase the bag. I get it. He wants to chase the bag, and the ultimate bag right now at this point in time is a cash out with Canelo Alvarez. Anybody that fights Canelo Alvarez will be their biggest payday in their career. So everybody who fights Canelo is going to be their biggest purse of their career. That's what he's chasing. Absolutely. He's chasing the Canelo bag. I get it. I completely understand. And once he fights Canelo, it'll be a cash out fight. More than likely, he'll retire after that. So I get that part. And I also predicted, Canelo. I said, his 3-fight deal with PBC, it will consist of him fighting Terence Crawford. I said it will be Jermell Charlo, Terence Crawford, and David Benavidez. He'll fight those 3 fighters. That's what I said. And so it looks like it's on par for that, right? But like I said, at the end of the day, family, Terence Crawford, you got to choose who you're going to fight, man. Boots is your mandatory, and so you got to fight him or give up the strap. And if he does decide to give up the strap, you know what he wants to do. He wants to go to 154. More than likely, if he does decide to go with 154, again, is either a fight with Errol Spence with a rematch, or find somebody like Tim Tszyu. Right? So that remains to be seen, family. But those are my thoughts on that. What do you think in the comment section? What Terence Crawford, who should he fight next? Who is the next available opponent for Terence Crawford to fight next? Let me know down below in your comments, family. Until next time, signing out. Peace.